Evening, guys. Welcome back to my channel. We are doing a cook with me on the My Weight Watcher cookbook. It is the sweet potato lasagna. Cannot wait to try it. If you are interested in seeing that video, please keep watching.
It is raining outside and we're still in bed. We don't wanna wake up yet.
Making some hot chocolate to start my meal prepping for tonight's dinner. Now that I have my hot chocolate going and my video holder ready, because I'm going to be watching some videos, I'm going to start prepping for my meal for tonight. I've got the sweet potatoes all diced. I used my V-slicer and they're pretty thin, and that's the thinnest setting that I have, so they are pretty thin. It says to use 3/4 pound total, so I'm gonna weigh it out and I will let you know exactly how much I have left over. Sweet potatoes were just over 3/4 pound, so I just took a few of them out, so a few of the smaller tiny pieces, and left the majority of them in there. So this is what we ended up with, is pretty big size bowl. Set of directions says to make sauce, heat oil in a large saucepan over medium-high heat, add onions and carrots and cook, stirring frequently until softened, 5 to 6 minutes. So I'm going to get the onions and carrots, which I already have diced up and in the freezer, so we're going to use those. And I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of olive oil. After you cook the onions and carrots, you're going to stir in garlic and 1 tablespoon of sage. Cook, stirring frequently until fragrant, about 1 minute. Stir in the turkey and breaking it up with a wooden spoon, and then add tomato paste and cook. And we're going to do that first. We're going to start with 2 teaspoons of olive oil. There's 2 teaspoons. And then I'm using the vegetables that I always have frozen in the fridge, although they're getting low. I'm going to have to prep some more frozen veggies. It says 1 large onion, which I'm going to say about 3/4 cup. This is a 1/2 cup. So we did a little over 1/2 cup. And then the carrots, it says 2 large carrots. So I'm going to say this is probably a large carrot. And this is probably a large carrot. It's kind of hard to figure when they're frozen. And it does say cubed. So these are already cubed and ready to go, which I love because I love having vegetables prepped and ready to go. I'm going to get my garlic out. And I use the Trader Joe garlic, which has the cubes in the back. And it says to use 3 garlic cloves, so I'm going to use 3 of these, but I'm not going to put it in quite yet. I'm going to put it in a little bowl. They're super easy to pop out. And that's what they look like. Now it says to use fresh sage, but I don't have any, so I'm just going to use ground. And it's going to be 1 tablespoon and 1.5 teaspoons. And I'm just getting these all ready because these are going to go in to help make the sauce for this. I just want everything ready. So I just realized that I did not have the record button on that last little part that I showed you. So what I did was, you saw the 2 little containers here of the sage and the garlic. I added those after I got those, the onions and carrots cooked up. I added those, stirred that in there, added my 1 pound of turkey breast, and chopped that up with my chopper right over there. After I added the turkey, I added the tomato paste. This is the tomato paste I used, and you add 1.5 tablespoons to your turkey, and then make sure you let the turkey cook until it's almost done. And then you're going to add 1/4 cup of, it says red wine, but I didn't have red, so I used white cooking wine. 1/4 cup of that, and then you're going to leave it boil out for about 2 minutes or so until it's reduced. And then you're going to add 3 tablespoons of water. You're going to add the can of diced tomatoes. This is the can of petite dice that I use. It's 14.5 ounces. You can use any type though. And then I added 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and this is what I got here. Stirred it up a little bit, and now it's simmering for 15 minutes. So I set the timer for 15 minutes. And we're going to just let this simmer now and then I will make sure I'm recording when I bring you back and show you what step is next. We get everything prepared. I have the potatoes soaking in just plain water so they don't turn brown on me. So I just have them covered up with water. Next it says to measure out 1/2 cup of ricotta cheese, and then I'm going to add 1 beaten egg to that, a pinch of salt, and the remaining 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. So I'm going to add some more pepper in a small bowl and set that aside. So that's what I'm going to do here. 1/2 cup, this is a 1/4 cup, so 1/2 cup total ricotta cheese, and I am using the low fat. It says part skim, so that's what I'm using here. Crack an egg in there, and then we're going to stir this up. After I get this stirred, I'm going to add a little salt and pepper in here, and then we're going to set this aside. Okay, we have that all stirred up, and I'm just going to set this aside. 8x8 pan here, it says to use 9x9, but I only have an 8x8, so that's what I'm using. I sprayed it with a little bit of the coconut oil non-stick spray. So I just sprayed a little bit in there. It says to boil your spinach and then squeeze it out. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to roughly chop this, and I'm going to use it just like it is. It's definitely going to cook, so I'm not going to bother going through the boiling of this, and plus I think it's kind of gross. So I'm just going to roughly chop a bunch of this, and we're going to use it like that. Okay, I roughly chopped a bunch of this. I almost used this full container worth. I just wanted enough for a salad. But yeah, that's what I did, and I think it'll turn out just fine like that. There's no need to go through the boiling process of this because it takes a lot longer, and it's a pain in the butt, to be honest. Okay, I did simmer this for 15 minutes. I just think it's too watery yet, so I turned up the heat to medium high just to reduce that water in there, and then we will see where this brings us. Just too liquidy to put in the pan, in my opinion. So it's starting to come to a harder boil now, and this won't take too long. All right, guys, this looks much better. I got all of the liquid out of there. So now we're gonna take 1/3 of this. You can see I have it divided in 3. We're gonna take 1/3 of this, and we're gonna layer it on the bottom of our pan. That looks perfect. 1 layer of that at the bottom of your greased pan. So now we're over here, and what we're gonna do is I'm going to make sure I shake off all the water. I'm just gonna layer the sweet potatoes, 1 layer. It says you can overlap, but I'm not going to because I think mine are a little thicker than I would like them to be, so I'm not gonna overlap them. So that is 1 layer of that. Spread a thin layer of sauce at the bottom. Cover with 1/3 of your potato slices, overlapping slightly if needed. Spread half of remaining sauce over the potatoes. So now we're gonna spread some more sauce, 1 more layer of sauce on here. So I covered it with 1 more layer of sauce. And now I'm gonna do 1 more layer of potatoes. I know it seems weird, but that's what the directions say. So we're gonna do 1 more layer of potatoes here. Next, we're gonna go ahead and top this with spinach. So we're gonna get a good layer of spinach on here. I may not even use all the spinach. Okay, that's plenty. I'll put this back in the container and I can use that for salad. Now it says to spoon on your ricotta egg mixture. So I'm just going to try to do this as evenly as I can here. It said to spread it out, but it's going to be kind of hard to spread this over spinach. Maybe that's why they say to cook it. I'm going to get my spatula out here because that's going to be the only way I can get all of this used. So put some over here. All right, and now we're going to spread another layer of potatoes. We might use up all these potatoes after all. No, we're not going to. It'll be kind of close. We don't have too much of the potatoes left, a few. And now we're going to top with the remaining meat mixture, and I'll bring you back and show you what that looks like. But so far, that's what we got. That's what we got here so far. Now we're going to cover with the mozzarella cheese, and we're going to use 1/2 cup of the Trader Joe mozzarella cheese. So we're going to put on 1/2 cup of the mozzarella cheese. This is 2 points worth. I may actually use more cheese since I did not use a lot of, some of the potatoes. So yeah, I think I'm going to use a little more cheese. I'm going to give this a smush down. And that is it, you guys. And now it says to cover loosely with aluminum foil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to make sure that this does not touch the cheese. Stick it in the oven, 400 degrees for 1 hour. I'll bring you back after that hour and show you what it looks like and let you know if the potatoes are done or not. And then we're going to take off of this lid and put it back in for 10 more minutes to kind of brown the top up just a little bit. It says to put it on a baking dish because I'm pretty sure it'll probably leak over a little bit. So definitely put it on a baking dish unless you want to mess in your oven. All right, guys, this just got done. It's been an hour. We're going to pick this up here and see what we have. It does feel very soft, so it looks like it's done. Okay, now what I'm going to do is keep the cover off of this. It looks really good, doesn't it? And I'm going to put this back in the oven. I'll bring you back when 10 minutes has passed. It looks so good, and it smells even better. The finished product after 10 minutes in the oven with the foil off. Got nice and brown on the top there, and it looks so good, and it smells so good. Can't wait to try this out. Now this is supposed to be 8 servings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be quite small servings, but I'm going to put everything into my recipe builder because I think I used lower point products than they did. So I'm going to put everything in and I will give you the final result. I think I'm going to do this in 6. So we'll cut it here and then here and here. So we'll get 6 servings out of this. Hey, this is dinner tonight. We have sweet potato casserole. It looks really good. I'm going to taste it quick and let you know what it tastes like. Really good, you guys. Not quite as salty as I would like it. So I would probably add a little more sodium in this because it's kind of plain that way, but the sage is really good in here. We really like it. Okay, so we got done with dinner. We really liked it, but there's 2 things I will be changing the next time I make it, and we will make it again. The one thing I'll be doing is adding some marinara sauce. I'm going to guesstimate maybe 3/4 of a cup to the sauce in the meat mixture when we're frying up the meat mixture, because it wasn't quite enough to layer it 3 times. I was kind of running short by the time I got to the last layer. So that's one thing I'm going to change. Plus, I didn't think it was quite salty enough either. So I think that will help with the sodium as well. It was very low sodium, actually, with the ingredients that I used were all low sodium. If you wanted a little more salty, I would definitely recommend either using the regular ingredients with the more salt added or adding just a little bit of salt to it. So the second thing I would change is going to be adding some cottage cheese to the ricotta cheese mixture. There wasn't near enough of that either. So we're going to add cottage cheese. I'm going to probably do 3/4 of a cup or half a cup, same as the ricotta, and then add the egg in there too. I think that would be a really good addition. So that was our take on it, and I will let you know if I do try those 2 things, and I will let you know how it turned out. That is all I have for you tonight, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you so much for watching my videos. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to share it if you think anybody else may like it. Bye, guys.
We got no plans for the